Good Monday motivation. HR 2025-2026 Business Restructuring with me, Ribea Elise. Our legislative acknowledgement that are this week's discussion, that are the act that acknowledges how we hold the office business communication line, that we refer to being a telephone line in your business office, that we refer to being a computerized communication in your business office. How we hold business, right? The act that are the right to acknowledge the business communication line that your office are acknowledged in. And that's all that I want to focus on with this week's discussion. The right to be acknowledged being a business owner, the right to acknowledge businesses that relate and that should communicate and that should acknowledge your business communication act, that are the activation code that all businesses get when they open a business communication. Normally it's a business registry code, and it's called an activation code, right? Me, Queen Ribea, I want to focus only today on all the difficulties that I have with government countries that have to do my business communication line. For me, Queen Ribea Elise in the room, or for me, Ribea Elise in the room, it's not difficult to acknowledge all that organizations have to acknowledge when they learn about my cell phone media page, when they press play on my cell phone media page, when they look upon cell phone media and they are introduced to me and the Chinese computer that communicates to us the way that we receive computerized communications, tell you to press play on a communication on cell phone media, then it is a right for me, Queen Ribea Elise, or me, Ribea Elise's business to therefore then be acknowledged, right? And so it goes for all international countries in this day. All international countries under the Business Communication Office, there are the software program that we hold business under. All countries have a right to be acknowledged in the communication line. It depends on how countries acknowledges themselves in the business office and how therefore countries then relate. I educated on my Evoke business on Instagram, relate, right? Era 2.1, the 21st century that we are in. How do we relate in the communication line? How do we acknowledge businesses in the communication line that are acknowledged under our same business code? In South Africa, the communication office are very easy. The South African government educates it under the right of acknowledgement, Black Economic Empowerment Office, under the right of training and education offices where people have a right to be trained at, under the right to acknowledge someone else in the business communication line, and therefore not only referring to the less privileged people, but then therefore referring to people that should be acknowledged in the communication line, and that the communication line are sometimes waiting in line up, right? Like we were standing in South Africa in COVID-19 in 2020 in the post office line, so the communication line waits on a computerized office. It's like people waiting in line for someone else to acknowledge your business communication. And when directors discuss the business acknowledgement office, then business communications goes through easily. Then business people get communications easily. Then people support your business easily because your business are then what we call on an email that I'm now currently working on, that's called a weekly promotion. Then therefore not limited to legislative court of law would say, not limited to the promotion acknowledgement, but then therefore acknowledging the business office in its complete legislative responsibility. And while we have to adhere to legislation in all that we are business owners about, right? In all that we acknowledge our businesses and we acknowledge legislation under the complete acknowledgement that I've referred to in week 1 of HR 2025-2026 Business Restructuring with me, Ribea Elise, that are the womb acknowledgement that your business holds office on. When we acknowledge under the womb acknowledgement, then we acknowledge in all different country family lines, right? All different countries' family lines today look like a lot of communications in those communications lines still has to get right. But where we are at, right? When we get it right on our side, then another country's communication line gets right. That's why I always say people don't fiddle on my cell phone media. People don't edit my cell phone media work. People don't do wrong while I'm on cell phone media. People, I'm quickly posting this. Don't misunderstand what I'm actually saying. Kindly acknowledge the communication that I'm sharing. Either press like, either press play, either just read the communication. But acknowledgement are of utmost importance, right? Acknowledgement are that communication language barrier that today countries find themselves in so much oppression that so much countries are oppressed because of the language barrier communication that were not acknowledged in all the different family lines internationally, right? And when I refer to the international family womb, Queen Mom Universe Anna George Philander womb, then it's like a communication office that opens, right? And a computerized office. And when the communication office opens, then it acknowledges all communications that were standing in line waiting to be acknowledged. And there's so much countries waiting to be acknowledged in the business communication line. So much international countries in wars that are waiting to be acknowledged in the communication line. And that's why I say kindly, all of y'all, if y'all don't realize what I'm doing, then kindly step away from my Evoke Business Communications and cell phone media that I've posted, but don't edit on it. Don't fiddle on it. Only press play if you want to listen to what I'm actually saying. And for the countries that has to press play, like American television employees, that has to learn the television educations that I educate, not based on my experience, but based on my birth womb language acknowledgement, right? It's like I'm talking a different language while I'm talking English because I'm born in a different language, right? And I explain it like Queen Mom Universe Anna George Philander womb, School of Color, the Afrikaans, Duits, the translation language that I'm born in, right? Even though my mama's mama are African, my mama's mama talk like she was talking Chinese, my mama's brothers talk European, the one brother also look European, the family womb look European, the grandmama look European, then the womb is so complete in acknowledgement that when I talk English and the communication goes through on the computerized office, then it acknowledges all the different languages, all the different countries, family lines that I'm born in, right? And therefore only legislatively we want the office business communication during this 2025-2026 year to only listen to our legislative responsibility that we have to acknowledge your business communication office by therefore acknowledging business officers that your business have to make business with or have to relate with, right? In the same communication office. And when you acknowledge the same communication office and you come upon businesses, when you are in fashion and you come upon me, Ribea Elise's fashion page and cell phone media, and you learn that it looks interesting, it sounds interesting, what I'm saying sounds interesting, then you're not necessarily wrong. Once you decide to contact a business owner like me, Ribea Elise in the womb, and you decide to respond to the communication line that you have acknowledged, when you came upon it, and when you acknowledge it in your business office communication line, then you therefore acknowledge the same communication line that your business are holding business in, that me, Queen Ribea Elise, always explain, the Queen Mom Universe office, right? I say that it's a computer, and the computer assigned with my mama's name on, and the computer assigned Queen Mom Universe Anna George Philander, and it was an alien key years ago, and the alien key are in these years a computer for us human beings, and the alien key are behind the communication line in the same way that the alien key were years ago implementing the same communication line, right? And when we were signed with human names, then it makes it so easy for the communication to get direction into what countries the communication has to acknowledge in the same business office communication, right? And when it was years ago only an alien key, and today in front of us it's a computer, and the computer completely acknowledges a country in Africa that still have to be acknowledged in the communication line. When me, Queen Ribea Elise, refer to my communication line being Queen Mom Universe Anna George Philander whom, but then the alien key realized, and the computerized response communication office realized that it's actually the communication of the mama that were once walking this complete journey, and the whom's journey was now actually stretching there, and the whom's journey are directing us through those countries, and the business office have to be acknowledged in that country, in all the different countries where businesses still have to be acknowledged in the communication office at. And that's where we kindly only want to be at with this first part of our HR 2025-2026 business restructuring with me, Ribea Elise.